Hey, it's Curly, and today I've got not one, not two, but three Deckset products that we're going to take a look at today. Seems that Bushiroad is going to every year release some sort of new deck product. We had the start decks at the start of Overdress. After that we had the trial decks. After that we've had these, and then for next year they're going to have a new set of decks that they've yet to reveal any information on at the point of me recording this video. But this is for this year's, and it is themed around a card that gets very heavily supported in the upcoming set that's actually coming out in a week, and then two decks that are actually from the video game that they released this year, with one of these actually being the first time that this card is actually released in English. I actually have a Japanese version of Favrneel, but this is actually the first time Favrneel is actually released in English, whereas we got Gramgrace already in set 8. But hey, let's jump right into it. So we'll go over each of these somewhat quickly. They don't have anything too crazy inside in terms of amount of content. So you can see here we just have 5 things. First, we've got ourselves a pre-constructed deck with 4 new cards, everything else being reprints. We got ourselves extra cards, which are actually all reprints. We got ourselves the storage box, which of course is the box actually containing everything. We got ourselves sleeves, as well as a deck box or deck holder. It's a pretty nice product just because it has all these things encompassing. It gives you reprints that you can use, it gives you a pretty solid deck, and it gives you a deck box and sleeves that you can use. And this one here is the one for Gramgrace, featuring Yuki Ichidoji from Dear Days, the main character. It looks really pretty. It's nice to see not only new art for Yuki, aside from the stock ones that we've seen in Dear Days for, billions of years, but also to just see her represented in the actual TCG in such a degree. If we go ahead and open it up here, we've got ourselves the deck box here, which are really nice. We've got ourselves the deck, and then finally the sleeves, which are just of Gramgrace, which is cool because, Gramgrace hasn't really had any sort of specific product or merch or anything like that, so it's cool that it's finally gotten all of this. Then you can take out this little thing here and you got yourself the storage box. So it's the same as the premium collection, not premium collection, but the premium deck battle set thing. It's the same as the Chronogen and Messiah deck sets if you get them. So pretty cool. Holds quite a lot of your cards. Then we've got ourselves here the sleeves. Pretty cool. It has the Gramgrace, dragon on it, and has this gold trim, which is kind of cool. One of the things I don't really like too much about Bushiroad sleeves is that they all have this silver back. I wish I could have copied the color that we have here, because especially when you have like a ride deck, all the cards having the same front-facing color, it's kind of hard to tell them apart sometimes, but it's not that big of a deal. But the sleeves look really nice. They have Gramgrace on them. Would have liked it if they had Yuki on it, as the box here does, which is really cool. Of course, we're going to drop it as we open it, or release it from its shackles here. There we go, and here's the deck box. Looks really nice. We've got 2 images of Yuki here, as well as the image of Gramgrace. It's the standard affair for these Bushiroad boxes, but these are really good, to be honest. They're very sturdy. They're very, I don't want to say compact. They're not huge, so they are, I guess, technically compact, but they're also, pretty good size inside, so it fits a lot of your cards, even if they're like, double sleeve. You have a G-zone, stuff like that. It should all fit in here, which is really great. Really like these. Next up, we've got ourselves the cards that come in this. So of course, as you probably would imagine, whenever you buy the deck set, you not only get the sleeve and the deck box based on the unit and the character that are on the cover of the storage box, but of course the deck is based off of this. So we've got a deck here based on Gramgrace. These are all common rarity, which in some cases is kind of cool, but we also get reprints as well as new cards. So for example here for Gramgrace, we have actually a Keter ride line that you can use in any Keter deck because it is extremely generic. This one here, if you were to ride your grade 3, instead of discarding, you actually Soul Blast, so you can technically ride for free in a sense. This, when you ride over it, you draw a card and discard a card, and then this is just a grade 0. It looks really pretty. Then we've got ourselves reprints of the promo. That was, I believe, a sneak peek promo. We got some Forsados here. And then we've got a new card here for Gramgrace, the Knight of Soaring Refinement Daifin here, who says whenever something in your middle column, if you have Gramgrace attacks, it gets 5k. And whenever this attacks, you can counterblast 1 to have this unit get 15k if units in your center column have attacked twice. So basically the unit that Gramgrace holds out in itself. So that's kind of the attack pattern. You call this out behind Gramgrace, attack with this, give it the skill to Gramgrace where it can do triple drive, so attack with Gramgrace. Both of these will get 5k when they attack. And then finally you attack with this either next or last. And then this guy gets 15k if you counterblast. We got ourselves some reprints of Cadwalla, some reprints of Langue de Chat, the Divine Sister. We got some reprints of the Drilling Angel. We've got the Knight of Gale Sign Burglar here, which is a grade 1 where if your opponent's on grade 3 it gets 5k. And we got some reprints of Painkiller, which is, you know, pretty decent. We've got the good PGs here, the ones that say if you have 1 or less cards in your hand, you do not have to discard to perfectly guard, as well as a reprint of the Overtrigger, which isn't as important now since we do have the Cray Elemental, is that the right word? The new Overtriggers from Festival Collection. But we also do get critical triggers, which is very nice, especially these, which are like a couple of dollars each to get these from set 1. So it's nice that these are now being reprinted, and you actually get a full set of 8 critical triggers instead of, you know, getting the fronts and stuff that unfortunately no one plays. We do get the normal draw triggers, which is fine for 1 through copies, as well as the heal triggers from set 6. Then at the end of this, we actually get some reprints here for Keter Sanctuary. So we get a reprint of the Magic of Iteration Tornor, which if you have 3 face down after this attacks while boosted, puts this to soul to countercharge. This was a double rare before. This was a triple rare here, the Knight of Rendering Flash Cowboy here. If you want to play this, Counterblast, Soul Blast. Look at the top 3. Call something if it's grade 2 or less. Add it to your hand if it's grade 3 or higher. Got the Wayward Therapy Angel. Can't be called or written normally, but if you discard her during your turn and your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, you can Soul Blast to call this out to back row center. Then we've got ourselves the promo for Gramgrace that's also been reprinted here, the Bringer of Soaring Wind Lachat. At the end of the turn, if this is in the back row rearguard circle, if you have Gramgrace, you can retire this to choose a grade 3 from your soul, add it to your hand. And finally, we have the Gratis Gretel here, probably one of the most overhyped cards in all of Overdress that ended up really not living up to its expectations here. But Gratis Gretel is a Regalia piece, so you can only have one of these in your deck and only use one of them per fight. Then, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with the Persona Ride icon, and if you did not ride this turn, you can play this and activate Persona Ride. You draw a card and your front row gets 10k to the end of that turn. So, overall, the reprints are nice. Some of them, as we'll see, are better than others, but overall, I'm pretty excited about this. Getting the new card is pretty cool. I don't think it's going to be groundbreaking for Gramgrace, but in general, it's nice to just see, you know, Gramgrace get some exposure. Next up, we've got the Favrneel one here, which is the one that I was probably the most excited about, to be honest with you, because of the fact that Favrneel never got officially released up until now. I ordered a Japanese copy of Dear Days, which came with Favrneel, which is really cool. In English, we didn't actually get any cards if you buy the Switch version, but you can actually get Favrneel that way, and that was actually the only way to get Favrneel until, you know, now. And with this being the only English release of Favrneel, it's pretty cool. So it's going to be the same thing as before, just deck box, and then we've got the storage case here. What is interesting about this is that I don't know if I have, hold on. Alright, so I actually do have a copy of the Japanese version of these sleeves. I don't know if it's the same ones that came from the Deckset. I think they were just released at some point, but you can actually see here that they're actually different from the ones in the Deckset. This is the one that I have that are Japanese. This is the ones that were in Deckset. These actually have a purple trim, where these have a sort of dark bluish trim. It's going to be the same thing with the Orfist one, where they had actually Orfist Reggie sleeves released, but the colors are actually, or the borders I should say, are just a little bit different. Other than that, the sleeves look nice. I like the purple trim, to be honest. I also like the dark blue, so no complaints here. And we got ourselves here the deck box, which looks extremely nice. And we got the guy that uses Favrneel in Dear Days. I don't remember his name, so I'm not even gonna pretend like I do know it. But it's a guy with the chest that sticks out. It's really hot. And we got Favrneel here. And yep, it's, you know, pretty standard fare. It looks pretty nice. And then finally we got ourselves the cards. So this one is really interesting because of quite a couple of things here. So first things first, we only get one copy of Favrneel because that's all you need. You can only actually play one of these in your deck. Never really explained why. It's a nice cool little gimmick, but they don't really go into detail as to why they only need one. For those unaware, Favrneel has that first skill. Then he has another skill where at the beginning of your main phase, your opponent chooses one of their rear guards, retires it, and if you did not ride this turn, this unit gets 10k any crit at the end of the turn. Then, when your opponent's rear guard is retired during your turn, put a card from your hand into soul and draw one. And finally, at the end of the battle, this unit attacked, if the sum of the grades of Dark States cards in your soul is 13 or greater, counter blast 2, restand this unit and it gets -1 drive to the end of the turn. So it doesn't have the Persona Ride icon, but you can only use one of these in your deck, which means you'd have to use like the Gratis Gradle to get this Persona Ride. Or you can use the new promo that's in this. So that's the first interesting thing. Of course, got the same thing that we did in Gramgrace, which is the generic ride line here. This one is a Soul Blast to ride. This is the discard, draw one discard. This is just the starter. We got some reprints of the Man, Reaper, and Shadow Zermalt. Great card. Got some reprints of this promo, Executioner, Dragon, Pearl, Scythe Dragon. It's, you know, decent. We got the Time Jarrett Dragon, which is often used with the Favrneel. Gets grade 3 that puts stuff into soul. You want to get as many high grade stuff into your soul to hit the requirement of 13 grades total. There's some of grades being 13. Then we've got the support card here, the Purgatory Baron Horridus, which is actually really good. So he has 2 skills. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked a Vanguard. If your Vanguard is Favrneel, put this into soul, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So you get soul, you get a grade 3 in soul, and you activate Favrneel's skill from the retire. Then it says if this is in your soul at the beginning of your ride phase, if your Vanguard is Favrneel, you bind this and discard a card to activate Persona Ride. And then until the end of the turn, you of course can't Persona Ride again, you can't ride. So you have another way to activate Persona Ride, which makes the deck a lot stronger. They actually give you 4 of these, which is really cool. Got another promo here, which is kind of funny, in the Squid Freaks, so we've got 2 promo reprints already. This is probably what you'd like into your ride line instead of the actual Rhino. Got reprints of the Steam-made Azure Da from set 3, which is kind of cool. We got a reprint of the Gun Ram, which is really cool because this became really expensive thanks to the Chronojet Dragon. We got reprints of Lynn, which is fine. These were both reprinted in Festival Collection, so it's cool to have them, let alone reprinted but in common rarity as well. We got reprints of the Good Triggers, PG I should say. We got a reprint of the Over Trigger, which you probably still will use this Over Trigger in this deck, I believe. We got a copy of the Vintage Slasher, which is really cool. Haven't seen her since set 1. And then we got ourselves a reprint of the Lively Breath Dragon from set 6, the Draw Trigger from set 6, as well as the Heal Trigger from set 6, as well as like the Chronojet Trial Deck and the Michiru Trial Deck, I believe. No, actually Michiru was different. Michiru was different, yeah. Then we've got ourselves the like reprints here, or the new cards actually, because we got the Demonic Swordsman of Riving Elgos here. So this is actually a promo that we never got. Japan did get it a while back, but we're actually only getting it here in the trial deck or the deck set, and it's actually really good for Favrneel as well. So Favrneel is definitely a big winner when it comes to these deck sets. But this says when it attacks a Vanguard, if you have Favrneel as your Vanguard, put another rear guard into your soul, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it, and if the sum of the grades of Dark States in your soul is 13 or more, you counter charge 1. So with Favrneel's cost being Counter Blast 2, this helps it bring it down since it gives you counter charge, which is really cool, as well as fill up your soul and the retire. So unfortunately we only get one of those. We got ourselves a reprint of the Crimson Mixfeller from set 2. We got ourselves the Falcat Performer, which was really hard to get for a while. And we got a reprint, common rarity of the Brainwash Swirler, the legendary Brainwash Swirler that was super expensive, $30, $40, $50, $60, because everyone thinks you have to put this in every Darkseid deck, even though you don't. And finally, of course, we got the gratis Gretel again. So Favrneel is really cool. Looking forward to playing it. I do wish they gave us more copies of that one new promo guy, so that I don't have to go hunt down. But that is fine. Pretty good product nonetheless. Last but not least, here we've got the Orfist Reggie's deck set, which is probably going to be the most popular one, I think. Just because of the one reprint that's in here. They're kind of tied between Favrneel and Darkseid, or Favrneel and Darkseid, Favrneel and Orfist. Which one of the two is going to be like the better one or the most popular one? Fortunately, Gramgrace is probably going to be dead last no matter what. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. Got ourselves the cards, of course. We've got ourselves the deck box, and then of course the sleeves here. And of course got ourselves, this as a storage box. Let's go ahead and do the deck box first, which looks pretty cool. It's got, looks pretty cool. It's got Zaxa in his Shirogane outfit here. Once again, and then we've got Orfist Reggie's here. It's pretty cool looking. It looks very similar to the Darkseid one. I think the Gramgrace one was slightly different colors. I'm not sure. But, it's a deck box. Looks nice. Then we've got ourselves these sleeves here, which I have the old sleeves here, the original pair, I guess, that came out. And you can see here that the trim is actually red in the original one, whereas like the new one is actually black. So go ahead and open this so you can take a look. So it's got the more like, Brancate black here instead of the red here. I wasn't a big fan of these sleeves here because, it's this Daisuke Isega art where there's just a bunch of shit going on and I can never really make out images clearly. But it actually always looked kind of like blurry and not great to me. And it might have just been because of like the red makes everything bleed in. It looks better on the camera than it does it in real life. I think the black is a lot better, to be honest. I think I'm going to switch the Orfist deck to use this instead. Those are the sleeves. Then on to the cards here. This one I don't think is going to be as great, I think, as the Favrneel one, but there are a couple of things that are going to make it pretty good. So first things first, we've got ourselves, of course, the Cardinal Dominus Orfist Reggie's here, which was only printed in Festival Collection from a long time ago. So it's nice to see this have a reprint, because even then, it was actually always like $20. So this should be pretty easy to get now. We get 4 copies of that. Then we've got ourselves the Rhydon here, the Kubisia, and the Rotus, as well as the Grade 0. Then we got ourselves a reprint of the Cardinal Dragon Noria from set 6, which is cool because you get 4 of those. It's originally a double rare. We get ourselves the Cardinal Draco Koljamed from set 4, I believe, who's a double rare, so you get 2 of those. We get a reprint of a common from set 10, even though it's a good common. It's kind of funny that it's reprinted again as a common. But this is the Cardinal Noid Grundir. Pretty good card. Then we get the new card here that actually helps out Orfist Mask quite a lot, as well as Orfist Reggie's technically. But we got the Polar X's Dragon. When this unit is placed on rear, if you have a Vanguard with Orfist in its card name, you Soul Blast, choose a world card with a different card name from the cards in your order zone from your drop and put it into your order zone. Then when this is put from drop or hand during your battle, when this is put into drop from rear or hand during your battle phase, if your world is dark or abyssal, you draw a card. So we only get ourselves, actually we don't get 4, cool. So we get 4 copies of that. We got ourselves the Cardinal Principal Kauga here. We got ourselves the PGs, the Over Trigger, the Crit from set 6, as well as the Crit from set 1, the Draw Trigger from set 1, and the Heal Trigger for set 1, which is really cool. And then we got ourselves some reprints of the orders here. So you get 4 of the Eternity, 3 of the Moonlights, the Draw one, and then 2 of the Eclipse Moonlight, which gives you the Shadow Armor token. Then we got ourselves the Bent Robust here, who is from set 9, so that's kind of cool. We got ourselves a triple rare reprint, but not a very good one, in the Cardinal Dreckle Desijade. A good triple rare reprint here in the Combine Rusher. I don't really know a lot of decks that actually play Combine Rusher. The main one was really Eva and Heroes. Heroes got the Bold Source, they don't need it anymore, and Eva has the choice restriction, so they can't play it anymore. But we do get another reprint of the Boba Mine. I really appreciate Bushiroad reprinting this card to the ground, because it's absolutely super essential. It was like $30 at some point, and it was basically a 4 of in every Brancade deck. And then finally, the massive dub here with the Elementia Sanctitude finally getting reprinted. I want to say as common, but this was always a common card. So this is actually the 3rd printing of this card. There was the first one with the trial decks, ironically. Then we got a promo reprint of it in the full art, no foil, as a promo pack, tournament promo pack, very recently actually, in August. And then now we got a reprinted here in the deck set, another deck set again, which means that this deck set might be really hard to get. The Sanctitude I feel like hasn't been as crazy in need, but it always is kind of in need since it's played in one of each deck, so it is nice to have this yet again. So that'll actually do it for the decks here. Let me know in the comments below which one you think is your favorite. Unfortunately, as much as I like the new Yuki art and the Yuki representation, Favrneel is definitely my favorite one just because it's Dark Knights and we get, Favrneel, this dude's hot. And the Orfist one has the added bonus of having, stuff like Combine Rusher and Sanctitude. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you're new to Vanguard, make sure to pick these up. They're a great starting point. I'm not going to tell you that these decks are the very tip-top premium tier, but, Gramgrace is really fun. Favrneel is actually really fun and pretty strong, and Orfist Regis, by itself, it may not be the best deck, but in set 12, it actually becomes one of the very best decks. So it's definitely good to get the core from this. In any case, till next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Play Vanguard, and have yourselves a damn good one.